Welcome to Heart Home Community's most recent Baldwinsville Community Update. I'm your host, Shelley Hoffman. Welcome to Heart Home Community's most recent Baldwinsville Community Update. I'm your host, Shelley Hoffman. Hey, Mayor, how you doing today?
I'm all fired up now, that intro.
You gotta love my countdown that I'm working with, right?
And it's new almost every week, so it's, it doesn't get old and boring. That's nice.
That's true. Lauren Russell tells me I never make her life or my life dull, so that's who we have to
do that. How have you been?
I've been doing well. I'm in Pittsburgh again, so in case anybody wonders, every once in a while when I have a different background, it usually means I'm in a different state somewhere. But today I'm visiting my brother, so it was nice to see him.
That's nice.
Yeah. So
same place that I've been for a year.
What's that?
I'm in the same place that I've been for a year. You
have,
including Bayheim.
I was gonna say you moved the Bayheim head. I noticed that last time we talked. So
yeah, I wanted it more obvious.
Funny. So what's been going on in the village of Baldwinsville since we spoke?
Again, I mean, we say this all the time that it's busy, but it's different kind of busy now. I mean, things are happening so that there's events going on a limited scale, but the rest of the village main cog works, the DPW, the police, the clerks, the courts, all that stuff is clicking right along. We did get good news last Thursday at the board meeting. The Rotary is planning to have Seneca River Day on August 14th. It's just going to be a one-day event, nothing in Mercer Park. Everything would be on Paper Mill Island.
Okay.
During the day, I believe there'd be some free bands, and then at night, they'd probably, work with the promoter and try to come up with an act for the evening. They're going to have food trucks, no duck race down the river, but they're going to have a duck pluck, which I assume would be a bunch of men. You reach in the water and pull out and see what number you got and if you won a prize or you didn't win a prize. The question was asked about fireworks. Ken Schmidt, who really does a nice job representing the Rotary, said, it's not the kind of a year that you could justify spending money on fireworks when there's other causes that the Rotary supports that need that money. So I said, well, what if we could find a benefactor? What if somebody in the community thought it was a great year to absolutely make sure we have fireworks? So the plea is out. A business, a private person who thinks that they would love to see fireworks and want to do their share to help, and maybe it'd be 2 or 3 combined. I'm going to guess that the average cost of fireworks is somewhere between $4,000 and $8,000 for a show, depending on how big you go. Could be up to $10,000.
Wow.
So if it was 8 and you had 4 sponsors for $2,000 each, it would soften the blow for them, and it would give the Rotary something to really trumpet to the community that these people saved fireworks for Baldwinsville this year. So if you're so inclined, feel free to contact me, contact anybody that's in the Rotary, and hopefully we can get something done. I know that Ken is also looking sometime in July to do one of the Tuesday night free concerts, which would be obviously no alcohol, no charge, and it would be similar to what the 2 towns have put on for a decade. Bring your family out, plop on a blanket. There'll hopefully be a food truck where you could get a hot dog or a hamburger. And so the Rotary at least is trying to do that in July. I know Chuck Chao is working hard to try to get concerts, kind of at a last minute type thing, because until everything broke free the last couple of weeks, our island was more restrictive because of the size of it, and it made it hard for him to play in concerts. He also has pointed out that they used to rent a room in the Red Mill Inn for the concert main attraction, to have a room where they could go in and have food and have some of their big supporters come in and join them. They could take a shower if they wanted. Well, the Red Mill Inn is no longer a motel, hotel type of place, but it's going to be apartments, so that availability is not there anymore. So limited on what he can do on travel and traveling the country. If they require that, it'll be very hard to book them. But he's working hard at. Suggested that he just think about local bands. People are so anxious for concerts, and to go out on the island. If you throw Dirt Road Ruckus out there, they're going to be thrilled. So we'll hopefully hear something very soon from Chuck. But it's nice to know that the Rotary is working hard. They're a great organization for our community, and once again, it appears that they're going to come through and provide people with something before we get to the Taste of Baldwinsville, which is in September. We do have Margarita Fest on July 17th from noon to 5. There'll be more information coming out on that, I'm sure. I know that Megan O'Donnell and Mike Shepard from our board have been very involved with this over the years, so we get good information from them. But that's always been a big event, and suddenly you drive through town and you see 100 people walking around downtown. You kind of wonder, what the heck? Why do we have so many people down here in the middle of the day? But that's the Margarita Fest. And so really excited that that's coming back. So a couple good things to look forward to. I hope people mark them on their calendars. A couple issues around the village. Trash has become a big issue. Apparently it's not just a backside of Budweiser where people were all cleaning trash, but around the village, somebody was down on Marble Street where the long spit goes out into the river, and it looked like somebody had dumped their garbage. There's piles of it. Some people try to help and pick it up, some of it, but you get a little nervous picking up other people's trash, not knowing what's in it. So we do have 50 trash barrels around the village. If you have a coffee container, if you have a paper sack that had a couple cookies in it when you stop at the bakery or wherever, hold on to your trash until you get to one of the trash cans. There's one at each end of the bridge. They're in the parks, all over the place. So help us out a little bit and help us keep our village looking nice. There was some question about, the new cannabis laws. People can now smoke without, you can possess a certain amount of cannabis now without being arrested. But you can't just smoke it just anywhere. You can't smoke cannabis where you can't smoke cigarettes. And in Baldwinsville, that means all of our parks. So you can't sit at a picnic table and pass a pipe around or share a joint with your friends. We are going to do a better job of posting no smoking signs at all the parks, make them obvious. But we for years have had no smoking cigarettes because there's kids in the park.
Right.
And you worry about throwing it into a trash receptacle and a lit cigarette, and now you've got a fire. So we have no smoking in any of our parks, and that means cigarettes and cannabis. So just that heads up for people. We will do a better job of marking it, and when we're convinced that the marking is done satisfactorily, then we will start cracking down on people in the parks. So heads up. Yesterday was the second week of the farmers market. It was not a very lovely day to be outside, but it was almost everybody that was there the first week as far as vendors was there again this week. Bought some more strawberries. Very good. Different food truck this week.
I saw Mom Paul Kettle Corn was there this week.
Yeah, Biblos, which is a Middle Eastern food truck. And I was down there, and I was very tempted to grab a gyro. And when I got home, my wife said, "Did you have one?" I said, "No." I said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, I don't want to bring one home and eat it in front of you because with her gluten, she can't eat it." And
I've been shoving it in my face, Mayor, when I was walking in the house saying, "I don't know what you're talking about, Linda."
I'm learning now. Next time I'll eat it in the car. But it's nice variety. The people down there that are running the stands are all very nice. It's fun to walk around and just talk. I bought something new last week I had never heard of, and now I see them everywhere, and that's garlic scapes. which are a long, thin, curly-Q thing that comes off the top of the garlic.
Okay.
So I'm using it in my eggs, cutting it up into little pieces and throwing it in the eggs.
Nice.
Tastes like garlic, and I had never really heard of it. And 2 or 3 people were selling garlic scapes. So it must be it's like years ago, chicken wings were throwaways. When butchers did chickens, they just took them and most of the time got rid of them. And somebody said, well, let's cook them. And then buffalo got big with the buffalo wings. And now chicken wings are out of sight, expensive. So it's funny how things develop.
Well, it's funny you say that because Taylor's coming into my oldest daughter came to Pittsburgh with me, and she told me on the way down it was not to see her uncle, who she's glad she's looking, and she gets to see him and she's spending time with him now. But we go to Bar 48 in Elizabeth Township every time we're here and get chicken wings because they are my favorite chicken wings anywhere. So the thought of them just throwing chicken wings away, that's just crazy.
Yeah, and it is kind of funny. People will say, I remember back in the 60s, chicken wings were really, a lot of times you just threw them in the trash because nobody bought them. Nobody knew how to cook them. There wasn't much meat on them. Now you figure you get a dozen and you slurp through them and you feel like you've had a half a meal anyways. So I'm interested to see what they have at the market next week. And hopefully the weather is nice and we'll get a nice 75-degree sunny day. Last week was rain. Right up to the start. Yesterday was kind of threatening, but it was very chilly. Not much of a day to sit at a picnic table and eat a sandwich and had on a winter coat. So I'm happy to see that the farmers market is working along good. I hope it's working financially for Nick, and that we will continue to see good things happening down there. And just remind people, with all the COVID restrictions being lifted, doesn't mean they're all lifted. Some movie theaters are going to require you to wear masks. Some aren't. Cantonwood is requiring people who have not been vaccinated to wear a mask. Those who have been vaccinated don't have to. Some stores still have signs up asking people to wear a mask when you come in the store. Others are no longer requiring that. So be prepared. If you go out, take a mask with you, stick it in your pocket. And if you don't have to wear it, fine. If they say, on the door, it says, please wear it, put your mask on and go shop. I mean, it's kind of simple. Some things have opened up completely. Our court, which is run by the state court system, is still screening people. When you come in, you have to wear a mask. You can't just show up at court. You have to have called ahead of time to make sure there's a slot for you. That type of stuff. But other places generally are loosening up to some degree. I know the Village Hall and the police department have the new buzzer on the door to let you in and stuff, but they're just not leaving the door open for just anybody walking by to decide it's a good time to stop in and use the bathroom or get a little hand sanitizer in Village Hall. Because we are trying to protect our workers, not just from COVID, but from people wandering in that maybe have bad ideas.
Yeah.
Big headache for the village now, along with everybody else, ash trees. The ash borers have infected over 100 trees in the village. They're all going to have to come down. Some of them we can probably take down. They're 25 feet tall. And if they're in a park, our guys can drop them and take care of them. You can't just throw them in a wood pile and chip them up because the borers are in the wood and they may not die in the chipping process and they'll get out to infect other trees. So you have to either send them someplace where they get burned, or you have to have a chipper that chips them up very fine so it's guaranteed that the borer would get chipped up too. So it could be very expensive. We're kind of trying to figure out how to work this. It's great timing that this would hit bad. We knew it was coming. I mean, 3-4 years ago, we were being warned that the ash borers were really infecting trees. At that point, you were seeing 3 or 4 or 5%. Now it's over 50% infections, and which means that probably the others nearby are in jeopardy too.
Right.
And it's not just taking down trees, but then we have to replace some of those trees. We have to reforest the area. So you might take down 10 ash trees down at Community Park and put in 6 maple trees and spread them out so that it kind of covers the same area, so that in a few years you can guarantee people will be able to go to a treed area where there's shade. And, you know, there's nothing to make you feel cooler on a hot day than to look up and see the leaves on the tree fluttering in the breeze. You know, you may not feel a breeze, but you know, there is one moving somewhere. Those green leaves fluttering, to me, it makes me cool. When I look out the window, I say, oh, at least there's a breeze blowing. I can see it in the trees. So, you know, we've committed for a long time to be a Tree City USA, and we firmly believe that trees really are essential to our community. I grew up next door to Gates Funeral Home, and when I was a kid, make you always hear that, right? But if you went down by the police station and looked up Genesee Street, there was a canopy of elm and maple and oak trees all the way up Genesee Street. You felt like you could drive up there and no sun would hit your car. If you're on a bike, you know, it was all shade. And suddenly the maple trees got too big and started going bad. The elm trees started getting Dutch elm disease, and a lot of the big trees got wiped out. But if you look now, some of those trees are starting to form canopies over the village streets. Even on our Braeside, if you look down, they're smaller trees, but they're starting to reach over the street. And it's a real cooling look to make you feel like you're, and it gives you, there's great pictures of years gone by of people were out in the country, and there'd be a fence, you know, wood fence along one side of the road, and maybe a couple of horses, and then there would be this beautiful canopy and orange leaves in the street because it was fall. And you would think, wow, that doesn't get much better than that. And that's kind of what we're hoping we can get back to. But the ash trees will put a dent in that. I mean, I honestly admit I couldn't tell you which tree is an ash tree. Somebody pointed to one the other day and it didn't have any leaves on it. So it was hard for me to recognize if I saw another one, and the tree is clearly dead. So it doesn't give you much of a picture of what it looks like alive. So people should be prepared for maybe starting this summer, but I'm guessing it'll be a year project anyways to get all these ash trees down. And maybe the government may force us to do it quicker because the quicker the sick trees go down, the better chance the other ones won't get infected. That's my thought. It's possible that there's nothing we can do, that they're going to just get hit eventually. So if people start noticing that they have a tree that looks bad, if it's in the right of way, contact the village. If it's in your backyard, have a tree person come over and give you, a look. And if it's an ash tree, you probably want to get it down sooner rather than later. Today at 4:30 is Wellness Wednesday out on Paper Mill Island. The yoga instructor will be out there for a 1-hour session from 4:30 to 5:30. If you're interested, now obviously you're not going to make it you could make it for 4:30. It took off an hour ago.
I have a funeral I'm going to down here too today, so I won't make it. But
if you're interested in going, anybody call the instructor to let them know you want to be there. If you go on the village website or the village Facebook site, we have a link to the Wellness Wednesday site and the yoga instructor, and just let them know you want to come. I guess last week was the first week and they had 8 people, which is not a bad start. And hopefully the word starts to spread. And, it's supposed to be low 70s by 4:30 today. Nice.
So that's nice. Every Wednesday, Mayor? Every
Wednesday in the beginning of September. So if you can't make it one week, you got it, next week, maybe you can go. We are very busy right now, too, trying to prepare for the arrival of the American Rescue Plan federal stimulus money. We're trying to make sure that you have to spend the money or send it back. So we're working hard now. First of all, what we will do is pay back the village for the expenses we had related to COVID. We had to buy masks. We had to buy gloves. We had to buy doorbell camera stuff to protect our workers, that type of thing. And we'll pay all that. Like we had budgeted for like $9,000. We thought we would get revenue from the island. We got nothing last year, so we can claim that as a loss. So we're trying to make sure we know what things got affected. Possibly, the court revenue. The court was closed for quite a bit. We take care of that, and at that point, we don't know exactly how much money we're getting, and it was revealed the other day from somebody involved above us that nobody's quite sure how much money you're getting. And so we are coming up with possible infrastructure type of stuff we know is covered, that's okay. So if you want to put in a street, pave a street, you could use it for that. We probably have done all our paving for the year. But we are looking at some other projects that are nice to dream about, but hard to fit into the budget sometimes. And the theory is they don't want the money back. They don't want you to save the money, put it in the bank and try to lower taxes. They want you to spend the money with the idea that people will be working because of the money. Construction companies will be working, paving companies will be working, whatever you might think about doing, those people are going to have more guaranteed income because you've got money to spend.
Do you have to do a proposal like we did for the Main Street grant, or is this just something that they're giving you the money and you get to use your discretion?
Not 100% sure. I think, for instance, if they gave you $100,000 and 25 of it paid back your COVID, now you got 75. I don't know if you have to submit a plan ahead how you're going to spend the other 75, or if you spend it and then submit it and they okay it. There are some guidelines on things you can use it for and things you can't use it for. Most of the things we're looking for are infrastructure things that would be visible to people in the community, would see that we had money to spend to do something, to fix something. We've had a lot of people ask us about the boat launch down at Community Park, that if it could be upgraded. So that certainly is a possibility that we're looking at, that type of thing. So
gotcha.
We're asking, I've asked the board members to please, I've sent out some ideas, asked them to give me some ideas so we can sit down when we know exactly how much we're going to get. And then I guess we get the same amount next year. It's split over 2 years. For people who don't know, you take the town of Lysander's amount and whatever the percentage of people that live in the village on the Lysander side, that's the same percentage of the money targeted for Lysander that we will get.
Okay.
Same thing with Van Buren. So if one of them was getting $1 million and we're 20%, we'd get 200,000.
So another question, just you had mentioned the boat launch at Mercer Park, Community Park, right? Community. If that's in the Van Buren side of the village, so would you be able to use the money from the Lysander side to Van Buren because it's all the village, or do you have to allocate the money from Lysander to the Lysander side and Van Buren to the Van Buren side?
No, I don't think this is like community development where you have to spend it in the neighborhood. I think we lump it together because we'll get money from Lysander, we'll get money from Van Buren and put it in a kitty, and take that whole amount and use it for projects. At least I've seen nothing that says it has to be used in the township. This is one of those things where, because we're considered a non-entitlement community, really it's a very sketchy kind of a thing to try to explain to people, but we're getting our money from a different way. The money for us goes to the state, and then the state then sends it to us. And the state has asked for a 30-day, surprise, surprise, extension of how soon they have to get the money to us. I'm guessing, millions of dollars sitting in some kind of a bank account, even for 30 days, would draw some interest. There was a big concern early on. It was requested by all the villages and by NICOM that the state not get our money because of their habit of holding on to it, or then keeping some of it because, well, during the COVID, we spent money on you,
Yeah. So
we're going to keep, you know, $70,000 of oxygen that we sent you or something, you know, in the air. And I don't think that's what the intent of the federal money is. I don't think it's intended to reach that, because the state's getting a huge amount.
Right.
So that's where that should come from. Anything that they felt like they gave to us should come from the federal money to them and not our money. We'll see how that all works out. Cantonwoods is very excited. I have an exclamation point on the end of the sentence that says Cantonwoods returns to normal operations July 1st.
Nice.
So that will be nice. Open from 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. Full schedule of programs and activities. I'm guessing everybody's breathing a huge sigh of relief. Still a little bit of restrictions. The July newsletter, which should be coming out pretty soon, will have a lot of details about the schedules, you know, what activities are available. And also will note that the first time you go, you're going to have to prove whether you had a vaccination or not. If you had a vaccination, they'll mark it on your sheet of paper that's good for duration. If you don't have a vaccination or you can't prove it, you have to wear a mask while you're there.
How was the concert that they had this past month?
Outstanding. It was Rock Shadows. It was, as I described it to somebody, it was oldies music, and the guys playing it were oldies. But they were good. They were missing their organist, who was laid up with something, not COVID, but was ill. And somebody said, when he's really the heart of the group, because he gets going on the organ. But I mean, they did all kinds of oldies. Everybody was singing. A couple of people got up and were dancing, and it was really nice, beautiful day. It was like 75 degrees, bright sunshine. Probably somewhere between 50 and 75 people, which, you know, nice. For something like that's pretty good. Yeah. They have another concert coming on the 15th, and it's a Thursday at 2 o'clock. It's Jerry Calley. He's a familiar name. He's been around a long time. He's one of these guys that does Frank Sinatra, Tom Jones, but he also does Johnny Cash, and, you know, pretty much the whole scale. He's an older guy, and so it's, you know, he's got a big repertoire, and he's always been a big hit over at Cantonwoods. And again, it's free. You bring your lawn chairs, spread out. You know, the birds are singing with you, and it's, you know, I keep waiting for the deer to pop out of the woods. But so mark on your calendars, July 15th. Not a bad idea to bring sunscreen, because it's, other than if you sit back against the trees, there's a lot of sunshine areas where you have to sit, and it's pretty intense about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think people kind of forget that, especially if you haven't been out in a year. Farmers market coupons expected to be available next month. Call the center starting the 28th, which is probably Monday, and sign up, and you'll find out how they're going to distribute them. Nancy Sullivan, again, still available anytime anybody needs help with anything, whether it's heat cooling assistance, whether it's rides, whatever it might be. Call Nancy at the center, 638-4536, and she'll be available. And I'll tell you what, other than they're going to have the regular programs, so I don't need to repeat all the rest of them.
Right.
And I'm happy for the seniors that they're back together. They'll be able to play cards, play pool. Nice. The lunch program is still not back in the building. It's up to the county to make that determination. And at this point, they're still having it be a drive up. And I don't have the details in front of me, but I know Meals on Wheels is having a pulled pork dinner in August. And they're encouraging people to sign up early, because if you remember back, was it St. Patrick's Day? They had corned beef dinner. That was through Peace. And it was
yeah.
The day they opened it. I mean, everybody wanted it and signed up. So
I think that was Rotary, sir. Just the Rotary did the corned beef.
That's right. And so people are looking for those kind of things. So if you think you'll wait a week or two and sign up, you know, now if it's Meals on Wheels, I don't know if they have the possibility if they're figuring on 150 meals and they sign them up quick and say, well, maybe we can do another 50. I mean, it's in their kitchen. It's possible, but I wouldn't gamble. I'm going to sign up quick. And, you know, they had a meal. I can't remember if it was last fall. I think maybe it was like in October, pulled pork dinner. It was very good. You know, I look forward to those kind of meals. So I don't think I have anything else. The big thing is we would love to see if anybody would like to help sponsor fireworks. You can call me. You can call the Chamber of Commerce, call Ken Schmidt at Rotary, or anybody you know it's in Rotary. Call Shelley. She's in Rotary. They'll get you to the right people.
And I love fireworks. So if somebody even puts a bug out there that they're thinking about it, I will be sure to be in contact and try and figure out a way to make that happen. I love fireworks. So much fun.
There you go. And hopefully other people will feel the same way you do. You know, we've got some big companies in the area that might think it would be nice. Probably a great thing for United Auto to do. Went over the hearts of some of the people who don't want them in the community. You know, I forget I said that. That's a joke.
I'm not going to lie. You're not the first person I heard say that out loud. So I can't edit. I can't tweak it out, sir. You're stuck with saying it. But I will tell you, I've heard that 4 or 5 times now. Not just for Seneca River Days, but if any other big event in Baldwinsville was looking to do fireworks, they had thought about them as a company just because maybe it would, you know, warm people up. And on the flip side of that, I'm just going to throw it out there because I've said it on public, so I'll say it on my show. On the flip side, you would hope people wouldn't come to an event. So there's controversy there. So I'll leave you out of it, Mayor, but those are the conversations, unfortunately, that are happening
I appreciate that. It's like in cards, though. A card laid is a card played. I said it, so it's kind of a joke, but that would be new companies coming into an area would look to find ways. I remember when Stewart's first was coming into the area, they got involved in spending some sponsorship money on a couple things, and it gets your name in the community in a positive light. And you know, if there's other companies out there that think it would help them, or if they think it's a nice thing for the community to welcome back to civilization, you know, doing things, it'd be a great way to make a mark in the community. So call Shelley. He's in charge.
I will take that on. I'm not on Ken's committee. That is an incredible committee that he runs for Seneca River Days. They do a lot of work. And 2 years ago was the first year they did the Friday night. We had the Friday night and the Saturday. This year, as you mentioned, it's just going to be the Paper Mill Island part of it. But if people didn't go 2 years ago to the Paper Mill Island, it was insanely fun. I mean, just well organized, great music. Food trucks were really good. They did a great job. So you're right, to end that night with fireworks would just be you know, topping it all off. So
what we've done in the past is on the Friday night we go down to the Mercer Park parking lot and get a little table out, and we have our dinner, and we sit right there on the riverbank, and the island is, you know, just right there, and we can hear all the music, and then just turn and there's the fireworks right across the river. And you know, sisters came down. Other friends, we had a whole group of people all around us that were all in the same kind of group. We didn't never step foot on the island, and as we were told, it was packed. Oh, my wife doesn't want me to tell people that we do that because now they'll all do it. I got to be careful here.
I thought Linda was supposed to be sitting in the room with you, giving you hand gestures to what you cannot say.
She just opened the door and went, "Don't tell people that." We have a lot of fun and appreciate the events. And as you sit there at Mercer Park, you see the people coming down North Street, going down the trail, and you know they're headed to the island. Mm-hmm. And I mean, while we were there were probably 30, 40 people just walking to the island from up in the, you know, behind us where we were sitting, coming down from Oneida Street, North Street, all that area, and a beautiful night walking to the island, not having to worry about where to park. Nice setup.
That is my hope, sir. You remember, I moved into the village last April. So this should be the first summer that I can actually take advantage of everything and walk around a little bit, because last year there wasn't much to walk around and see and do. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
So, well, thanks for all the information. It's always fun to have Linda come in and put her 2 cents in as to what you're doing. I love her.
I worked at the paper for 36 years and had editors, so I'm used to it.
Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch up with you soon.
Okay, Shelley, good to see you.
You too.